Welcome to day 2 of Rich and Influential, and I'm not sure of the subtitle, but I'm working on it. Something like Jesus' simple story about wealth, influence, your calling, and the kingdom, or something like that. Here's the deal. I hope you're enjoying. If you haven't seen day 1, totally okay. We can catch you up here. But in today's lesson, I want to talk to you about something that is a unbelievably massive problem among the people who feel called, and that is, what do I do? I want to help you know, finally, for once and for all, what you're supposed to be doing. Okay? And when you know what you're supposed to be doing, it is so freeing. I have a friend who's was a part of our student movement for a long time. And of course, when you have to hang out with entrepreneurs a lot, like he did, it's a catchy bug. It's exciting, right? It's like you get to create and you get to do things, and so he's just been really, really effective and a really good. I don't know if I'd call him a mentee at this point. Early in his career, he was, but a good mentee, and then now a good friend. And he was having dinner with a man who was generating approximately $100 million a year in a construction company. Now, $100 million in a year in a construction company, the margins are probably 5 to 10%. So, but nevertheless, very, very, very successful man, and very powerful. And they went to lunch. And as he was sitting there with this man at lunch, they started talking about what they were doing in the world. They started to talk about impact and how they were making a difference or wanted to make a difference. They started talking about the problems they were seeing in their community and in the world, and how broken and dysfunctional and all the stuff happening. And as they were talking about it, the man who makes $100 million a year started to weep at the table. And my friend, who's not real comfortable with that sort of thing or the show of emotions or anything like that, was kind of taken aback. And they're kind of, they're in this fancy restaurant, and this guy's like crying. And he said, what? He said, are you okay? Are you okay? Like, what's wrong? And the man said, I just been feeling for so long. I just want to do something. I just want to make it. I want to do something. He's like, I've got all this wealth. I've got all this ability. I want to do something, but I don't know what to do. And I've talked to thousands of people who are entrepreneurs, who are successful, who are doing cool things in their business, or maybe they want to do cool things in their business, or they go to church, they want to do something great for God, they want to make a difference, they want to impact the world. They see the brokenness and dysfunction of cultural beliefs and ideologies that destroy people's lives, and they want to do something, but they don't know what to do. And that's what I want to help you with today. What do you do? Put that in the chat. What do you do? And I think the most common answer to this is what most of the called are doing, the people who know that God has called them to do something significant with their lives. What most of the called are doing is waiting. We're waiting. We're waiting on God to tell us what to do. We're waiting for the open door. We're waiting for the invitation. We're waiting. Just waiting. One day when, sometime I'm going to. This is the reality. Whether we want it to be the reality or we don't want it to be the reality, it's why I said yesterday, I am fully convinced that there is a massive army of people who have been called by God to change the world, who are sitting on the sidelines. And the primary reason they are sitting on the sidelines is because they don't know what to do. And today I'm going to help you. I'm going to start that conversation. I'm going to answer that question for you. And I'm going to do it with Jesus' simple little story. So let's go ahead and read. That was your homework yesterday, but I'm going to read real quick the book of Matthew, chapter 25. Okay, so I'll share my screen here, and let's see if we can't get into it. Here it is. Boom. Okay, Matthew chapter 25. You see it here? Awesome. All right, here's the story. Simple story. Sunday school story, not really. For the kingdom of heaven, okay, first of all, this is what the kingdom's like. He's telling you, this is what it's like. This is what it's like when you live in my kingdom. These are the things that you're going to do, that you're going to work on. This is what life is going to look like inside of my kingdom. The kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, verse 14, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. He did what? He called. Somebody say called. What did he do? He called them. Okay, I'm going to read the whole story real quick and we'll come back to this. And unto one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to each according to his several ability. Everybody say ability. To his ability. And straightway he took his journey. Then he that had received 5 talents went and traded with the same. You know what traded means? Do you know what trade means? It's a fancy word. This is I think I'm on New King James Version or something like that. Oh, I'm in King James Version right now. Trade means to sell. I give you something, you give me something. Typically, the thing that they give us is cash. Trade just means sell. It's a fancy word for sell. You went and sold. You made some sales, right? And made from his sales another 5 talents. And likewise, verse 17, he that had received 2, he also gained another 2. Verse 18, but he that had received 1 went and digged in the earth and hid, it's not funny, and hid his Lord's money. After a long time, the Lord of those servants comes and reckons with them. I love that word, reckoneth. You don't want to be reckoneth with. You know what I'm saying? Unless you did good, then it's okay. Verse 20, and so he that had received 5 talents came and brought another 5 talents, saying, Lord, you delivered unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained besides them 5 talents more. His Lord said unto him, well done, good and faithful servant. How many want to hear that from the Lord? Well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful over a few things. I'm going to make you ruler. Somebody say ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. Listen to me in King James today. All right. He also that had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, you delivered unto me 2 talents. Behold, I've gained 2 other talents besides them. His Lord said unto him, well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler. Everybody say ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. Sounds redundant, right? Then he which had received 1 talent came and said, Lord. Now listen to this. This is very important because this is going to get repeated 4 times in one place. 4 times in a short scripture. And by the way, the same exact wording is used in Luke's story that is similar to this story when he talks about the 1 talent man who was afraid and hid. And that story happens to be the 1 minus man, which they all had 1, but the one who hid. Okay? Watch this. He said, Lord, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you have not sowed, and gathering where I have not strawed. And gathering where you have not strawed. So in other words, I do all the work. You get the results. I do the efforts. I reap. You reap what I sow, and you gather what I've spread about. Like it's crazy, right? This, like, he's a little like, I'm doing all the work. I knew you to be a hard man. Now watch. And I was afraid. Everybody say afraid. And I went and hid your talent in the earth, and lo, there thou hast what is thine. His Lord answered and said unto him, verse 26, you wicked, this is savage Jesus, I told you yesterday, you wicked and slothful servant. Yeah. You knew that I reap where I sowed not and gathered where I have not strawed. So he doesn't reject that premise. He doesn't say, nope, I'm actually doing all the work. Nope, that's not what he said. He said, yep, you knew I reap where I don't sow. You know that you do the work and I come in and collect the benefits. You should have at least put my money to the exchangers, the bankers, and then at my coming, I should have my own with usury, interest. Take therefore the talent from him and give it unto him which has 10 talents. We'll get into this later this week. For unto everyone that has will be given, and he will have an abundance. How many of you know the rich get richer? All right? Unto everyone that has shall be given, and he will have abundance. How many of you seen that in your life? Listen to Jesus, savage Jesus talk. But from him that hath not shall be taken away even that which he has. How many of you seen that? The person who doesn't have anything, everything they get just keeps disappearing. Even that which he has shall be taken away. And then he says, cast ye Come on, King James. The unprofitable servant into outer darkness where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Okay, this is the story. Crazy. Okay, this is intense story. But let's just go to that first verse where it says this. It says, verse 14, it says, a man traveling into a far country who calls his own servants. He calls them. What are we saying here? Well, Jesus has a kingdom that he wants to establish, but he calls his servants. He's not doing it. They are doing it. His servants are doing it. He proclaims it. He's the king over it. He's the master. He's the one who gives whatever resources are given, but he's not the one doing it. The servants do it. Listen to me. This is so important because I meet people all the time who tell me, like, with God's help, I will do it. It's not my battle they'll use. It's the Lord's battle, right? And so I don't even have to worry about it. And whenever God wants to do whatever God wants to do, then God was going to do whatever he's going to do. And while I understand that God is all-powerful and capable of doing whatever he wants, in the kingdom, many times, if not most times, as a matter of fact, when Jesus tells the story of what's going to happen in the world, he tells the story that emphasizes not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times. He emphasizes that he's not the one that's doing the work. His servants, the called ones, are the ones who will do the work. Are you listening to me right now? Because that's not the answer I wanted. As a matter of fact, for those of you who don't know my story, I went homeless 3 times trying to start, we did start and very successfully, and multiply a student movement in one of the most poverty-stricken areas right near East St. Louis in the entire United States. Okay? Like, it was a racist town. It was a very, very poor town. And we wanted to do a work to help rescue students from the lies of student culture. We weren't a church. We were a nonprofit. It was entrepreneurial. We made it up. And I went homeless 3 times leading that thing. We blew it up, but we kept running out of money. We'd blow it up and we'd run out of money. We'd blow it up and then run out of money. We kept running out of money. This is why I'm talking about rich and influential. Okay, this is why I'm talking about money, because how could God allow something as insignificant as money to hold back good things he wants to do in the world? If you haven't asked that question, you likely have not attempted to do big things in the world. Because I've met lots of missionaries, a lot of ministries, and a lot of people, just normal people, orphanage starters, you name it, who are trying to do good things in the world, but their capacity to impact change in the world is limited in many seasons and in many situations by the amount, listen to me now, of money that they have. Money. That's right. I know people who are doing great works for God that have to stop the work for God that they're doing in other countries, and they have to come back to the United States and they have to spend a year or 18 months raising money so that they can then go back to doing the work that they were doing, because their partners in missions have kind of gradually fallen off and they need more capital. Many of you feel called to do something significant for God, but you're like, well, I can't do it yet. And if I asked you, why can't you do it yet? You would tell me something like, well, I can't do it yet because we're just not ready financially. We just don't have the, listen to the words, capacity yet financially. We're really hoping God will bless us so that we can be free to really, listen to it, make an impact. There's an idea in Christianity that, well, I had it. It's why I went broke and homeless three times. That if it's God's will, it's God's bill. Have you heard that? If it's God's will, it's God's bill. And I believe that so wholeheartedly. As a matter of fact, we'll say things like, the preacher in me is going to come out. We'll say things like, excuse me. We'll say things like, my daddy owns a cattle on 1,000 hills. And for those of you who haven't been in church culture, like that's a psalm. And God owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. That means he's so rich. And it's like, yes, he's so rich, but that's his money, not yours. And I got a lot of money, but I don't give it all to my kids because they have no idea what to do with it. Do you hear me? And so when you hear the story of the kingdom, and when you hear Jesus explaining what the kingdom is like, he calls his servants. He calls them not so he could just do it all for them. I've even heard especially in Pentecostal circles, they'll talk about, we're going to have revival. God's going to give us revival. And it's like, are we waiting on God to do something before revival can happen? Because that doesn't seem to me like that isn't how it works. God is willing. He has been willing since the day of Pentecost, right? To pour out his spirit on all flesh. What he's waiting on is people. He's waiting on those he called to do the work he called them to do. Now watch, just like I don't give all my money to my kids, because how many of you know if I gave all my money to my kids, they would lose it? I mean, probably. No offense to my kids. They're pretty smart. They're pretty good. But they just don't have the capacity to manage and to care for and to multiply what I'm capable of multiplying. Okay? Why? Well, let's read it. The kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country who called to his servants and delivered on them his goods. He gave him 1 5, 1 2, and another 1 to every man according to his several, listen to it, ability. Ability. Everybody say ability. Ability. You have what you're capable of multiplying. I'm going to say that again. You have what you're capable of multiplying. I know that hurts a little, but here's the good news. How are you able to how are you able to access more? How do we access more to impact more, to influence more, to do a greater work in the world? Do we squeeze our hands really hard and beg God, please pour me out money and pour it out from the sky? Did God do financial miracles in my life? Absolutely. Is that it wouldn't be considered a financial miracle if that's how it's always done. The norm, right, is I'm going to have what I'm capable of multiplying. How do I know that I'm capable of multiplying it? Because I have access to it. And if I don't have access to it, that means I don't have the capability to multiply it yet. So my job is not to look for what I don't have and why I can't do what God told me to do because I don't have what I need. My job is to look at what I do have and to do with what I already have, to multiply what I already have. That's the mission. That's the calling. And if I want access to more, here's what I need. If I want more resources, I need more. What is it? What is it? What do I need more of? Ability. Let me use a different word that we use in 21st century. Let's take it out of King James and let's put it into entrepreneurial 2025 language. If I want more resources, I need more skills to multiply resources. Did you hear me? That's the focus. As a matter of fact, what is celebrated in this story? And the answer is multiplication. That's the skill. That's the skill that gets multiplied. Their ability, God is talking about the kingdom, and he tells them that they are celebrated on their ability to multiply money. I was listening to my mentor back in the day, and he broke down talents, what they were, and I had to go research it, Dr. Myron Golden. And, a talent, depending on whether it's silver or gold, it's a lot of money. If it's gold, it's around $800,000 per talent. 5 talents was $4 million in modern currency. So whoever received that much had the ability to multiply that much. And he does. He turns 4 million into 8, 5 talents into 10, if it's gold. Depends on what the talent was made of. Talent is a measurement of weight and currency. Anyways, but it had different metals underneath. Same thing with 2. The guy with 2, he wasn't as skilled. He only had 1.6 million to work with. So he turned 1.6 million to 3.2. And even the man with 1, where it feels like it's only 1, feels small. It's not small. It's $800,000 if it's gold. $600,000 if it's kind of the more normal currency of the day. It's likely somewhere between $600,000 and $800,000. And what happens to him? He's like, well, I don't want to lose it. We're going to get into all that later. Here's what I want to talk to you about today. What is your calling? What is your calling? Your calling is to multiply. That. We're going to read Luke's version tomorrow. But your calling is to multiply. The funny thing is like, that's the very first sentence God ever speaks to humanity. What's the first command? Not the first in value or priority, but the first in sequence. The first command is be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, subdue it. God is showing us our calling as those that are imago Dei, that are made in his image. What do people who are made in his image do? We create. Who do we create for? People that were called to serve. And we create our stuff, and they are imago Dei too. They are made in the image of God. So they also are creators. And so they do work that adds value. They create on behalf of humanity, and you create on behalf of humanity. And the things I create on behalf of humanity and the things that you create on behalf of humanity are two different things. And so what we do is we trade. Everybody say trade, right? How do they multiply? They traded. What did they trade? Trade just means sell. It could barter, or you could use like the green stuff like this. We trade. We sell, right? Back and forth. And so I create of the goodness of my creation. You create of the goodness of your creation, and we trade. And by the way, I may not want the thing you want, and you may not want the thing that I create, right? So we have a medium of exchange that we use instead, and the medium of exchange we call money. Now, church people have a big problem, many of them, with money. Like, oh, bad. No, money is not evil. I don't want to get into that right now. But money is not evil. We'll talk about that this week if you want to. Money is not evil. The love of money is evil. Why? Well, I'll just say it real quick. The love of money, I say this in many of my events, the love of money is evil for probably more reasons than I can name. But here's one that I understand. If you love the money, you love the fiction. Because this isn't what's real. This counts what's real. The real thing is the value I create. The real thing is the value you create. And if I want to buy something for you, I help people do $1 million days from events. I acquire media channels to monetize so that I can grow underlying companies, and I sell companies. Well, am I going to trade you what? Equity in a company, equity in a media channel? Am I gonna like offer event services for you to do $1 million days, and then then you're going to give me whatever thing I wanted to buy from you? Like, how does that work? How would I break that out? Instead, what we do is like, we take our value and we hold it in some container that has value or assumed value. The container of value that we hold the value we create in is US dollar, cash, right? And then that way I can give it to you, you can give it to me, and we can all this is the medium of exchange. But when you love money, you love the medium. This isn't the thing. This counts the thing. What is the thing? The thing is the value. So when you if money just counts the value that you're creating, loving money would be like loving an inch. Stupid. Why would you love an inch? It's just a measure of something else. This is part of the problem, right? Of course, like all other false gods, it ain't real. Okay? And so back to the story. What is your calling then? Are you saying, Joe, my calling is to My calling, like that man that's sitting there, his calling could be to add value through his construction company. It's like, yes, he's definitely called to do business. We're reading Luke's gospel tomorrow. The literal translation of what Jesus tells them to do when he goes away and he says he's coming back, the literal translation of that story in the parable of the minas we'll get to tomorrow is do business till I come. Why? We're going to get into that tomorrow. Okay? We'll get into that tomorrow. But what's the calling? The calling is to create. The calling is to create value on behalf of other people. And then you don't have to give it away. The idea is, and God set up the world this way. I didn't set up the world this way. The idea is to create something valuable that is so valuable that people are willing to give of the value that they created for the value that you created. Why? Well, we're going to get into more of that tomorrow. I can get into that. And I could see why you'd question this, because this is very different. Are you saying God's entire plan for humanity is for everybody to do business? I mean, that is how the world works, isn't it? Why though? Like, why? Isn't it beautiful to create? Isn't it beautiful? Like, creation is so enjoyable. It's like art, there's creation. We created this shirt, and I think it's super cool. I actually shout out to Paul. They call him Vapa, right? Paul Papaloni. Like he created this, and we worked together, and I gave feedback. He did all the artistic work, but like, it's a creation that the hat, the look, like, that's a creation. It's the book that I'm creating. It's a creation, right? And there's beauty in creation, and it's done on behalf of other humanity. And so the essence of creation, right? Unless it's just for yourself, but the essence of creation, especially as it relates to like entrepreneurship and sales, the essence of creation is servanthood. Servanthood. I serve you. I'm serving you right now. I'm adding value. I'm helping you understand. I'm bringing you clarity. Because I literally went homeless 3 times because I didn't understand this. I didn't understand that I was called to add value to other human beings, to create something, be fruitful, to produce something, but not stop at my own production. But the idea was that I would multiply, and I would fill the earth with my production, with the good thing that I created. That's the calling of God. That from the first sentence, that's the calling of God. And the idea is here in the parable of the talents and in the parable of the minas is God calls his servants. Now notice the word called. Everybody say called. Are you called? Put called in the chat if you're called. If you're called, right? The word called, watch this. See, this is the wild thing. The word called is klesia or klesia, depending. If you all know Greek, you know the end matters, right? Let's just say klesia for easy conversation here. Or let's say klesia. Klesia, that means call. I'd be like, if I called my wife, I'd be like, Melody. That's klesia. I'm calling for her, right? Now, there's another word that's very famous that all of us use, which is ekklesia. Ek, prefix, klesia, or klesia. Ekklesia means to call out. So it's like, hey, Melody, come here. Klesia, come out, come out, come out. It means you were somewhere else, and I want you to come somewhere else. Come here. It's ekklesia. It's a called out one. How many of you got it? The ekklesia literally means the called out ones. Ekklesia. What is ekklesia? That is the Greek word for church. The people of God have been called out. And here in the story, the king, Matthew 25:14, the king Kleseos, his servants. He calls them. Now, tomorrow we're going to talk about why, and why would God use business, and why would God use the marketplace, and why would God do it in this way? But the reality is, like, if you believe the Bible, he's coming back one day. And the whole story, this whole story happens, it's like this story, the parable of the talents, happens in a story of, well, what happened before is the 10 virgins so with the lamps, and some had their lamps trimmed and some didn't. Some had their oil ready, some didn't, right? This is the context. This is a story about the end of the world. Matthew 25, he's talking about the end. So in Luke's gospel, he talks about this with this story. He talks about a king who's coming back. Okay, we'll get into that tomorrow. The reality is he wanted everyone to know, like, I'm going and I'm coming back. And between the time I go and I come back, there's some stuff I need you to do. And when you do the stuff I tell you to do well, when you multiply well, you represent the king and his kingdom. Listen to me. You represent the king and his kingdom. And by virtue of the value, you'll see this tomorrow, that you add to other people, you will get respect and honor and rulership and authority and leadership and status and all the things in the world when you do a good job of creating and trading on behalf of other people. And when you honor them by serving them with your creation, even if it's trade and they give to you, the nature of the relationship changes and leadership is established and people come to know you as a representative of the king and his kingdom. And so my question to you is, like, are you multiplying in your life? Are you adding so much value to the world through your creation that your status, your wealth, your influence is growing? Joe, are you saying that everyone's supposed to be rich? No, there's seasons, there's in, out, there's whatever. I don't think that you should, like, I understand that there's different challenges, but I don't care if you're in third world Africa or if you're in first world United States or Dubai, you are called by God to create and trade and to add value to other people. That is the fundamental calling. And when you do that well, you add more value to the world. And when you do that well, you multiply. Your income multiplies and your influence multiplies. And so the key skill in all of this, and I'll kind of end here, the key skill in all of this, the thing that God is celebrating is multiplication. You are called to be fruitful, to multiply, to fill the earth with your production, and to rule well over that which you've produced and are producing on behalf of humanity. That is the call of God. Now, some people do this in a not-for-profit sector, like the missionary I talked about. But to best serve his people, he has to do good at multiplying money so that he has access to the resources to continually grow and expand their influence on their mission. That's their job. Part of their job. The whole job. Right? That's it. That's what they do. They have to they're called to multiply. And if you're a business owner who creates a good product, you're called to continue to create that good product, expand the goodness of the product that you're creating, because if it's good, it's done on behalf of humanity. And so it's good, and God wants you to create, and God saw that it was good, right? And he celebrates the things that he creates are good, and you should celebrate the good things that you create that are good. And we should stop being afraid of this. By the way, this is not prosperity gospel. I'm not telling you name it and claim it, blab it and grab it. Give $10 to your preacher and God will make it 100. That's not what I'm saying. Can God do that? Yes. Can God bless people when they give? Yes, absolutely. Does he do that? I believe he blesses when people give. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you becoming an influential person in the world. And that's going to happen because you serve people better with what you create than everybody else. You serve so well, you get their attention in a world of infinite ADD. Can you do it? Will you do it? And as you do it, How can you become a representative of the king and his kingdom and how his kingdom works? So much so that people want to be a part of the king and the kingdom. They want to know the truth. They seek the God that you worship. Can you do that? Because that's the call of God. Whether you're non-for-profit or for-profit, that's the call of God. That's what we're doing here, right? Now, there's levels, right? Anyways, so everybody say multiply. Everybody say multiply. So I found that there are 4 key skills, and I'll end on this. There are 4 key skills that I found in the 21st century. Okay, we're talking 2025 here, baby. There are 4 key skills that will make you multiplier extraordinaire. The best multipliers, the most influential, the most impactful, and yes, those with the most income are best at 4 skills. And I call it the multiply method. And there are 4 skills that you have to acquire in 21st century first world countries. And by the way, these apply, the principles, they apply to third world countries. It's the same, it's just different. Same principles though. 4. I'm going to teach those to you real quick. You guys want to know what the 4 are? Okay, here we go. 4, and we'll talk more about this week, but the 4 key principles that you need, the 4 key skill sets that you need in the multiply method. Number 1 is, the first thing I found is that, have you ever listened to somebody talk and they're just not interesting? It's just boring. We had a client, I had a business before called Elite Speakers with Eileen Wilder. She's awesome. And we wrote a book together. And the reason we wrote the book together is because we had so many people who were trying to do what we did, which we would do these online events and make hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars in an event. And we would go, man, this is awesome. Let's teach other people how to do it. And so that's what we decided to create. We created a training system to help people do events. Well, we taught everything about the event. We helped them set the event up, all the things, taught them all the things. And we had one of our first clients, go and do the event. And like, he got people there. He did all the things, all the tech worked, all the pages, they sold tickets, like all the things happened. He does the event, and we kind of know the numbers, right? At the end of his event, he should have done a couple $100,000 in sales. So he comes back and we ask him, hey, what happened? How'd it go? How many sales did you get? And his answer was 0. I'm like, what? 0. He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh, what happened? Did you do this? Did you do this? Do this? And I'm like, man, I don't get it. Like, here, like, send me the video of your event. And so he sent me the video and I start watching it. And it was like, no, that is not it. Because he is so accustomed to be a podcast speaker that he was so accustomed to being a podcast speaker that he didn't know how to get the energy going back and forth. So he put energy in the chat, right? Energy. And so, see, I just did it, right? He didn't know how to get energy going in the chat. And so we're like, how do you teach people to use words? Like, how do you figure out how to teach them? Like, he said good stuff. He just didn't say it in a way that created energy and made it interesting and all the things. And so what Eileen and I did is we went and studied the greatest speakers who've ever lived, presidents, like megachurch pastors who get tens of thousands of people there every month, the great orators of ancient history and all these people. And we studied, and we kept studying. We found a framework. And the framework was like, they all were using the same framework. They didn't know it. They didn't name it, but they were all doing the same thing. We're like, oh my gosh. And so we started writing it out and we started teaching some of our clients, and we taught it to this client who was struggling. We gave it to him. And the next week he did a podcast and he said, and he used the framework that we taught him how to do. And he wrote back to us all excited. He's like, Joe, Eileen, he's like, oh my gosh. He's like, I used the framework. And he's like, this lady was reaching out. She's like, she was so excited by what I was saying. She literally pulled her car over while she was listening. She ran around her car a few times because she was so excited by what I was saying. And it's because she had used the framework. And so we wrote a book called $1 Million Speaker. And in this book, we teach people how to use the framework to say it the way that the best world-class speakers. And it's really, really simple. All you got to do is follow the framework. And so this was written to solve the problem of skill number 1 that you need, which is messaging. You need to be able to say it in a way that makes the audience interested, number 1, and creates desire in the audience. This book was our first step on that path to like messaging. So we can talk a little bit about messaging this week as well. But that's step one. By the way, this book is not available anywhere. It's not on Amazon. It's not on anything like that. This has been an underground book that Eileen and I have used just for our like internal clients. We did give it away at one big event. Sometimes we'll give them away at an event and stuff like that, or a limited number. But yeah. So anyways, that's messaging. So the first thing you need to learn is messaging. Super important, because if your messaging ain't right, everything else won't work. The second thing, so that's one you've got to get good. If you're going to be a multiplier in the 21st century, you've got to get good at messaging. Number two, the second thing you need to get good at is meetings that monetize. Write that down, meetings that monetize. I was at an event this past week. I was so excited to go because I've been wanting to get all dressed up in a tux, and like, I was like, what are all these cool movies? They have tuxes and all this cool stuff going on. And so, give me 1 second. I'm over. Sorry, I had a meeting I'm going over. Second lesson that you need to learn is meetings that monetize. I was at this event. I was so excited, tux, like all dressed up, and we were going to help this not-for-profit who is helping children who are victims of sexual trafficking. Terrible issue. Underground Railroad is one we've supported in the past. This was a local one. And so I said, let's go. Like, we're going to go. And so we go to this meeting and like love the people, like love the heart of the people, love all the things. But the way the meeting was orchestrated was so like, it was like all over the place. And that makes it hard for someone to invest, because they're like, what am I investing into? Or how do I even invest? Or why should I invest? And so, because one, the speaking wasn't good, that's one piece, but the other piece was just like, it didn't drive towards a clear desire. They didn't tell me why I should invest. They didn't really share the vision of the company. There were lots of other things that were celebrated throughout and then like promoted. And so there's just like all this stuff. And it wasn't clear. It was a meeting that was not, I mean, I kind of know the numbers based on how many tickets were bought and how many seats were there and stuff like that. This meeting did not monetize well. Like, it could have easily been a 6-figure meeting. It wasn't. The skill of monetizing a meeting or a meetup, whatever, is a skill, right? And as you all know from my story, like, I believe we're the number one media monetization company in the world. We're very small and boutique right now, but we're very good at turning attention into money. And so that is the second thing, meetings that monetize. Why? You're going to see. Number 3, right? By the way, like that missionary could do one event and fund an entire year, or he could fund decades. It could fund an entire year in one event, and then he could go, oh, cool. Now and then we go to this next step. The third thing that needs to be a skill set that needs to be developed is media. Media is how many people you're reaching. This was like Jesus. Jesus would like feed them, and then thousands would sit to hear him speak. He added value, then he spoke, right? He added value, and then he spoke. And so, same thing. Media is your means to tell the world, right? To get your message out so that people will raise their hand, right? And go, oh my gosh, this is amazing, right? Then they hear your messaging on the media, right? And you know how to speak. You've got the reach to speak to. Then you can invite them to your meetings. That's literally what Jesus did. That's literally what the apostles did. And sometimes you just hijack other people's meetings like they did at Mars Hill, etc. But the point is, like, you need to be able to message well. You need to be able to have meetings that monetize. And by the way, monetize or, right, you may need investors, or you may people just to go all in. Meetings that multiply. How about that? Meetings that multiply, whether it's investors, whether it's capital, or whether it's like people who join your cause. The meeting that is designed to get them all together. You have to do well at that. But the problem is if you have meetings that monetize and you're good at speaking, but you don't have media, there's not enough people there. Doesn't matter how good you are, your conversion rates are only going to be so high. So you have to get good at getting media, either by partnering with media or owning media. As you all know, our company is on a mission to own 100 million subscribers of media by the end of 2026 now. And that's because when we partner with media channels, huge monetization days. And so just want to own more media. That's number 3. Lastly, the 4th thing that we have to get good at, this is the multiply method. In 2025, last thing we got to get good at multiplying. We got to multiply messaging, get better at it. We got to multiply meetings, the number of meetings and the quality of meetings. We got to multiply media, more and more people seeing and hearing us, partnering with media, owning media, our own media. And lastly, 2025 is movements. We need to be able to multiply movements. And movements are, a movement is a group of people. It's a community of people who share a singular mission. That's what a movement is. And so Change the World is a movement of movement multipliers. I've got a movement of movement leaders. And we're all on a mission to multiply our movements using messaging, media, meetings that multiply. That's what we're doing. And so, by the way, for those of you who are interested in being a part of that, we're launching that as a part of this book. There's people who are interested in becoming founders. You can just click founder below if you're interested in being a part of that. That's cool. That's not my point right now, but the first 100 people, well, you're just going to be treated special for a long time. We're going to build this thing into something huge. But those are the 4 things. You need messaging. If you're not good at messaging, words are that's just a skill. You got to learn it. If you're not good at meetings that multiply / monetize, you got to get good at that. There's no sense in bringing a bunch of people together and then you don't know how to orchestrate in such a way so investors are like, here's my money, or people who want to be a part of it are like I was excited about being a part of what happens, and then they actually sold me away from being a part of it because it just wasn't done well. No offense to them, and of course I'm not naming names or anything like that. I don't think anyone watching this would know who that is, but nevertheless, that's the reality. Then media, it's I know plenty of people who got great events, but they can't get anyone there. And I've had that problem in the past, right? Where it's okay, and my clients have had that problem. It's what do we need? We need to get really good at media, right? Whether that's buying media and paid ads, or it's doing media that is already in existence. And lastly, movements. The thing we're ultimately bringing people to is the movement, and the movement should be passionate, should be exciting, should be fun, should be game changing for people. It should change their lives. It should change the lives of the people that they're impacting. And so in our movement, we're going to have not-for-profit movements, missionaries and pastors and preachers, and we do. And we're going to have entrepreneurs and entrepreneurial leaders and entrepreneurs starting subscription-style businesses and entrepreneurs who have high-ticket businesses and and software businesses and blah, blah, blah. Movements. For-profit, non-for-profit. Doesn't matter, right? As long as it's good. Everybody say good. And so that's what we're building. And those are the skill sets you're going to need in the 21st century to truly multiply, because that's your calling. What's your calling? Put it in the chat. What's your calling? Multiply. Multiply. All right. That's enough for today. Tomorrow, we'll be going into Luke, and I'm going to get quite a bit deeper on all this. I'm going to show you how Jesus thought about multiplying and the impact that multiplying would have on the king and his kingdom and your calling and all the things. And so tomorrow, we'll see you same time, 2:00. We'll see you then. Thanks so much for joining us today. By the way, if you're serious and not just curious and you want to be a part of a movement of movement multipliers and you want to learn the skills of all these things, just put founder in the chat, and we'll either in the chat or you can DM me, and I'll DM you and figure out a way to tell you all about that. All right. Sounds good. See ya.